Hi, everyone, and welcome to the SRHM podcast, which explores new research and emerging trends in the field of sexual and reproductive health and rights, with a focus on using rights-based knowledge for action.
Good morning. I'm Eszter Kismodi, Chief Executive of Sexual and Reproductive Health Matters, SRHM. And I'm here today and very pleased to welcome Nelly, Munyasia, Executive Director of Reproductive Health Network Keyna, and Dr. Edison, Omollo, Chairperson of the Conference Scientific Committee. And we are here to talk about the 8th Reproductive Health Network, Pan-African Adolescent and Youth Sexual and Reproductive Health and Rights Scientific Conference that is coming in June and will be held in June in Kenya. So Nelly, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Esther.
I'm turning to you. We are very excited about your conference that you are organizing in partnership with the Ministry of Health of Kenya and many other partners. Can you tell and introduce the conference and talk about the organization of this conference?
Thank you so much. My name is Nelly, Munyasia. I'm the Executive Director, Reproductive Health Network Kenya, which is essentially a network of healthcare providers that work to ensure that we provide comprehensive sexual reproductive health information and services. And this, we do it through the network of healthcare providers, but also working around advocacy, both at the global, regional, national, and at the community level, our main target being the adolescent, youth, and girls. We are really excited that this year we are convening the first ever Pan-African conference, but to RHNK being the 8th scientific conference. And what is more exciting about this conference is because we are co-convening it with the government of Kenya, the Ministry of Health. And we are really grateful to other partners like the Hewlett Foundation, Danish Family Planning Association, the Center for Reproductive Rights, Africa CDC, that have been very supportive in ensuring that we have this convening.
Nelly, can you please tell us about why adolescent sexual and reproductive health and rights is especially important in our today world, and why a Pan-African conference at this point of time has a significant relevance?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Esther. And why Pan-African? Because we thought we needed to address African issues on the African continent. We know that when conferences have been organized outside Africa, we have faced issues with visa. We know, for example, of quite a number of Africans that are not able to travel to Europe because of the visa issues. And so for us, with partners across the region, we thought then we needed to have a conference in our region that is able to bring, that does not have limitations, that does not have restrictions, but also allow us to address issues around adolescent and youth, and also be able to hold our governments accountable to commitments they have made. We also are aware that adolescent and youth across Africa, they continue to face a lot of challenges around sexual and reproductive health and rights. And there are issues around lack of rights-based approach to providing education, information, and access to health services. We understand that we are seeing a lot of pushback. We are seeing an emboldened anti-rights movement that is also contributing to creating an enabling environment for adolescents to access these services. We have seen a trend across Africa where we have seen a rise in teen pregnancy among adolescent and youth. We have seen new infection rates of HIV and STI among adolescent and youth. And we have also seen the issue around, harmful cultural practices. And so having this convening in Africa, where we are very well aware of our social cultural context, then allows us to, have an Afrocentric approach in addressing some of these issues that adolescent and youth continue to face. And having government at the center of it, appreciating that their role in strengthening systems, their role in implementing policies, their role in even ensuring that they get domestic financing for programs at the wake where we are seeing even global funding cuts.
Thank you. So it's very important you are organizing the conference together with the Ministry of Health Kenya, that is showing a kind of more comprehensive accountability perspective as well around ensuring sexual and reproductive health and rights more broadly and adolescent SRHR. Whom are the participants you are expecting to the conference?
Thank you, Esther. And so we are having it with the government of Kenya. That means that we are expecting other governments across Africa to send in their Ministry of Health representatives, because it's an African conversation and the leadership has always been the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Youth, and just having a multi-sectoral approach to addressing the adolescent and youth issues. We are also expecting funders, because we have philanthropies and funders that have invested in adolescent and youth issues in Africa. And so we are expecting them to also attend and have conversations around what's next in terms of financing, when we are seeing a rollback in terms of how financing has been done in the past. We are also expecting, of course, the young people themselves, the adolescent and youths from across Africa, because we are providing a platform for them not only to showcase the work or talk about the issues they face, but also be able to interact with policymakers and hold them accountable in terms of commitments they have made. Civil society organizations have been at the forefront of ensuring that we are implementing policies, but also holding government accountable. So we are expecting a lot of civil society representatives in this conference. Then finally, of course, we are expecting delegates from academia and research institutions, given that this is a scientific conference, and I know Dr. Omollo will be talking much about it, just to make sure that even the quality of work that we are having in this conference is something that can influence policy at the end of it.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Nelly. So I'm turning now to Dr. Omollo. I can see that you have a very impressive advisory and scientific committee who worked with you to put together a scientific program. So can you talk more about the content and the scientific program itself?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Esther. Yeah, so the conference, let me start by talking about what the conference aims to achieve, basically the conference objectives. We have 4 objectives that we want to achieve around this year's theme. The first one is to interrogate the emerging threats of SRHR and come up with strategies for creating resilient and adaptive policies, health systems, and communities. Then the other objective is we want to spur discussion that impacts on the impacts of rapid technological advancements and how to harness it to improve SRHR. We want also to develop strategies for youth participation, especially the Gen Zs and Alpha, for effective advocacy, social accountability, and community engagement in achieving SRHR. And then finally, the last objective is we want to come up with plans and actionable recommendations for policy improvements to guide SRHR initiatives for impactful outcomes in a world of emerging threats.
So the theme is adolescent and youth sexual and reproductive health and rights. Can you talk about the sub-themes that you identified with the specific importance?
So thank you. So this year's conference is unique because the theme resonates around what is happening across the globe. We know what is currently happening and in terms of SRHR and the funding landscape. So we structured the conference theme. This year's theme, we have 6 main sub-themes. The first sub-theme is around global politics and SRHR, the impact of political shifts on SRH funding and policies. And here we are seeking abstracts. We are going to have panel discussions, plenaries, side events that analyze the effect of changes in global politics and governance on both domestic and regional SRHR funding policies. We're also going to be exploring potential strategies to mitigate negative impacts and identify opportunities for advancing SRHR in varying political climates. We are going to be discussing best practices in protecting SRHR funding against the backdrop of fluctuating political commitments. And then under sub-theme number 2, we are going to be looking at enhancing bodily autonomy and self-determination in SRHR. And this is based on the evidence that investing in self-care, demedicalization, telehealth, and e-health approaches offers the potential to considerably increase adolescents and young people's control over their SRHR. And therefore, discussions around this are going to explore innovative approaches that integrate integrate technology in SRHR service delivery to enhance access by adolescents and youth. Discussions will also include age of consent for adolescents, successful case studies on digital health interventions, and address the digital divide and privacy concerns. We are also going to be exploring strategies to incorporate mental health support in digital interventions. And then under sub-theme number 3, we are going to talk about climate change and its intersecting impact on SRHR. Here we are going to explore ways in which environmental changes intersect with SRHR, explore climate resilience and adaptive strategies for SRHR service delivery in affected groups, discuss innovative approaches to integrate SRHR education and services into climate action plans, and evaluate case studies where community-led initiatives have successfully mitigated the impact of climate change on SRHR. And then sub-theme number 4 is going to be diving deep into technology, where we are looking at leveraging technology for SRHR, and we are going to examine how these technological advances are shaping the landscape of SRHR for adolescents and youth. We are going to evaluate current artificial intelligence applications in SRHR and their impact on youth. We are going to discuss strategies to safeguard privacy and ensure that the ethical use of AI in SRHR. And then we are going to discuss and identify effective practices for combating misinformation and ensuring cultural and contextual appropriateness in AI-driven tools. And then, of course, we are going to also explore ways to bridge the digital divide and make technology-driven SRHR solutions accessible to the youth, regardless of their social economic status.
I'm very excited also about sub-theme 5 and 6, about social accountability and combating anti-rights movement, that I feel that has specifically very great importance in our today world. Can you talk a little bit more about these two sub-themes specifically?
Yeah, thank you so much, Esther. So we know that rapid evolution of technology, including artificial intelligence, offers both significant opportunities and threats to SRHR. And therefore, that's why this particular sub-theme is also a very important one to be discussed in the current context. So this sub-theme is going to be examining how these technological advances are shaping the landscape of SRHR for adolescents and youth. We are going to evaluate current AI applications in SRHR and their impact on youth, discuss strategies to safeguard privacy and ensure the ethical use of AI in SRHR. And then we're also going to be collectively identifying effective practices for combating misinformation and ensuring cultural and contextual appropriateness in AI-driven tools. And then we're going to also explore ways to bridge the digital divide and make technologically driven SRHR solution accessible to all youth, regardless of their socio-economic status, given that we know how vast Africa is and a lot of populations live in rural and marginalized areas. And then sub-theme number 5 is about empowering Gen Zs and Alphas. We've seen how the young people are active on social media, and we want to see under this sub-theme how to refocus this use of technology to advance social accountability and community engagement in youth advocacy. So we are going to be exploring the role of technology in enabling these digitally native generations to amplify their voices and influence SRHR advocacy across geographic and cultural boundaries. We are also going to be highlighting in some of the presentations successful case studies demonstrating how youth-led tech initiatives have driven meaningful change in society. And we're also going to be delving into strategies to support and empower youth advocates to refocus social accountability and enhance community through technology.
So sub-theme 6 is focusing on combating anti-rights movement. That really has a great significance, in particularly as well, I would say also in the continent. So how are you approaching the anti-rights movements from the conference point of view?
Yeah, again, this particular sub-theme is really important because Kenya recently hosted an African conference on family values. And I know that there are a series of conferences that are planned across different African countries. And it's a conversation that is ongoing, and mainly they are trying to restrict rights in the name of promoting family values. So this particular sub-theme on countering opposition and strategies to combat anti-right movement affecting AYSRHR is going to provide an opportunity to get an understanding of the opposition to AYSRHR and then explore innovative approaches to counter opposition, ensuring that young people have access to accurate information and services. It's also going to highlight some case studies detailing successful interventions that have effectively countered anti-rights movement, and will also contribute in the analysis of the impact of anti-rights movements on AYSRHR and explore successful communication strategies that have shifted public opinion and influenced policy in environments hostile to AYSRHR.
So the theme is the conference is really, really very exciting. And thank you so much for this very thorough introduction. It's really very exciting program. I can see the submission of the abstract is closed, if I'm correct, but looking to you to see whether it's actually closed. But for the registration of the conference, I can see that it's still open until the 31st of May. Can you say a little bit more practicalities about the participation at the conference?
Thank you so much, Esther. Of course, given that there's so much planning that goes into it, we have closed on the abstracts. However, we still have opportunities where delegates can still participate. We still are open for panels and side events till the end of this month. And also for registration, those delegates that just want to come in and learn and get to interact with funders, interact with government, there are still those opportunities. And the good news, like we have said, is that this is the only convening happening in Africa that is addressing adolescent and youth. And therefore, there's an opportunity to interact with key people that influence policy, that influence funding landscape, and people that also influence programming for adolescent and youth. So we still have a window of registration and taking up panels and side events. But for the abstract, it's closed because they have to be reviewed and feedback given to the authors.
Obviously. So again, the conference dates are 24 and 27 of June in Mombasa. Anything about practicalities of logistics?
Yeah, so those coming from outside Kenya, we have some good news. We've partnered with Kenya Airways and they have given a discount for those that, and there is a code. If you go to Kenya Airways website, you will see a code that they've provided. They put clear information that they're partnering with Reproductive Health Network for the Pan-African Conference. And so delegates coming in from across Africa. And Esther, we also have delegates that are coming from Europe, Asia, because they have invested in Africa. And so there's that discount. And for those that are coming directly, using other different means, when you come to Nairobi, then you're able to connect to Mombasa, either through an airline or through the railway line. That is very convenient. It takes about 5 hours and then you're in Mombasa. Alternatively, if you want to enjoy sightseeing, you can still come by road. We have convenient buses that will get you to Mombasa. If you're using your flying, then at the airport, you'll find a signage where you'll get the RHNK conference signage and you'll get people that will be able to support you. We have negotiated with hotels in Mombasa and we have a variety of hotels that are able to cater for different people depending with their budgets. If you go to RHNK conference website, all that information is there. Then we have exciting events for young people. We'll have a caravan that will be leaving Nairobi on the 23rd and going by road all the way to Mombasa, collecting views from young people, engaging with other civil society organizations. And this caravan have young people from 13 countries across Africa, and they will be speaking to some of the issues that they also face in their own country. Then on 24th, we also have a pre-conference event in one of the communities in Mombasa that again, we will be having a dialogue with young people, trying to understand what are the challenges, what are the issues, what are they expecting of the conference. In the caravan and the pre-conference, we'll have a communique that will be presented during the opening ceremony to the high delegation, so that this communique is what the young people are saying. These are our challenges from the different countries in Africa, and this is what we are expecting to see or hear out of this conference.
It sounds absolutely fascinating and exciting, and I'm so much looking forward to participating at your conference. And really congratulations for this amazing organization, and looking forward to also partnering about publishing and documenting the outcomes of the conference with SRHM. Thank you so very much for this conversation, and see you very soon from 24 to 27 in June in Mombasa. Thank you so much, Nelly and Dr. Omollo.
Thank you. Thank you, Esther. And importantly, we are excited to be partnering with SRHM in this conference. So papers will be published. There'll be a lot of visibility for the delegates' work that has been done, and we are excited about it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us for this insightful conversation. Please check the show notes for a link to the SRHM journal, which is available online and open access. Follow us on social media and sign up for our newsletter to receive notifications for new publications. If you're enjoying this podcast, please subscribe, give us a rating, or leave a review. Sharing evidence-based and rights-grounded knowledge is our passion, and it's also critical to support the advocacy and actions that need to be taken to improve SRHR for all. We would very much appreciate it. Thank you for supporting the SRHM podcast, which is produced by our staff. The music was composed by Tiber Christian and Salomon Beautombe.